views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
Hi, welcome. This is Dr. John DeMartini. This is one of the most amazing and inspiring shows that you can listen into. If you want to be on the edge of your seats, if you want to open up your heart, if you want to expand your mind, and you want to meet incredible people, stay tuned because you're just about to experience a transformative radio show that will change your life. And you're listening to the Dr. Pat Show that's coming up right next.
The following audio is via a Skype call.
Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me, busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail. Oh, my goodness. Oh, boy. For those of you that were listening to the past hour, that was us warming up. We are not done yet. Nancy Monson is in the house. I love this. I'm Dr. Pat. I'm with my sidekick. Hey, Mr. B.
What up, Pat?
How you doing today?
Be good, be good.
Yep, I be good. I'm being good, too. I'm just like,
as you should be.
I'm fired up. Listen. This is really one of the most incredible starts to any year that I have seen in a really long time. And it is so like if you watch the people that are talking about it, and if you watch the people that are talking about, you know, what happens in the energy and the expansiveness, and here's what you know. We're having a bunch of aha moments. I'm telling you, we're having them. You know, even me, on the phone 3 days now, Microsoft, thank goodness we got that fixed. There are aha moments in there. So today, if only I were my ahas, if only I were my ahas. Human Design in Action with Everyday Spirituality, my co-host, Nancy Monson today. For those of you that are out there, think about it. You know, who's a person that would go out and somehow early on in the domain.com arena goes out and says, you know what, I think I'm going to talk about everyday spirituality. And there the journey begins. Everyday Spirituality Radio, my co-host Nancy Monson today, you know, soul purpose advocate, somebody that has been out there working to help people become liberated from our inner suffering. Yes, help us. How can we look at our soul's purpose? Then what the heck are we going to do with it? Let's get it out in the world. She is the advocate for the soul, focusing on 4 things. The soul's GPS, embracing and holding sacred the messages of our souls, helping us fully accept it, express, celebrate our unique magnificence, and then release the conditioning that sabotages living our soul's purpose. Now, that's just a little bit of what Nancy does. She has amazing business skills, works with organizations, help them understand, figure out the dynamics of change, and with all of this, do it from the energy of expansiveness, acceleration, and the soul tapping into every part of who we are to live our most amazing lives. Today, despite our best intentions, we still struggle. We struggle with consistently living our insights and breakthroughs. Now, this is it. You're going to hear about human design, and working with Nancy, you're going to get a full scope of what that means. It is active. It is not passive. So it is evolutionary to accelerate, expand, and draw abundance into our everyday lives. Today, you're going to hear about everyday spirituality for everyday positivity. It is amazing. Nancy, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much, Pat. That was great.
I'm a little fired up here today.
I can see that. That's awesome.
I'm a little like, wait a minute. You're absolutely right at this. You know, why is it for many of us, We can barely remember our ahas, but man, I can tell you about the gloom and the doom. And if you really want me to get into how my conversation's trying to fix my computer, boy, I can tell you that probably in a lot of detail. But this is really, wait a minute. Ahas are cool things, aren't they?
Oh my gosh, they're wonderful. Having ahas really helps open our awareness, open our thinking. But the challenge is, like you just said, they go by and then we go back to business as usual. It's very difficult to actually bring those into our system and actually change our behavior as a result of them.
So let's talk about this. What's the energy of an aha? Let's talk about it. What's the energy? So when we say aha, I know what I think about for myself. I mean, everything from, wow, what am I going to do over here for my education? What am I going to do here? For me, going back to a very young age, not really having a place to stay and having an aha moment, looking across the street at a hotel sign and somehow knowing to go over there and beg for a room, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are ahas. But what do you mean by it in this energy in today's world?
Well, those are certainly some of them, Pat. And when I think of ahas, where this phrase came from was I was blessed to have one of my spiritual guidance teachers be Reb Zalman Schachter Shalomi. And he was one of the most amazing rabbis as part of the Jewish mystic, Jewish reform mystic, Jewish mysticism. And he was able to come and be one of our speakers at our trainings. And
so take a look what you've done, 'cause baby now we got bad blood. Did you have to do this? I was thinking that you could be
Radio is dedicated to the education and awareness of Lyme disease.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Lyme Talk Radio. I'm Dr. Pat, joined here by
Dr. Nusheen Darvish.
Dr. Pat Basili and Dr. Nusheen Darvish will be bringing the most innovative, groundbreaking information, research, treatment innovations, and stories from those it affects every day.
I'm so excited to be talking about this.
We have so much to share.
Dr. Darvish and I are planning to do is connect the dots.
People suffering with all sorts of chronic diseases, it's time. It is time for them to transform.
Tune into Lyme Talk Radio and help keep our mission strong.
For the loyal listeners out there that have been listening to this incredible show on Lyme disease, we are not going to let you down. We're going to come through stronger and enrich the platform for Lyme disease awareness through Lyme Talk Radio. The message will continue, the conversations will become stronger, and the healing epic. Hey everyone, meet my friends at the maca team. The ancient Inca root vegetable maca is known worldwide for its huge array of health benefits. As a family-run company of true maca specialists, the maca team is here to bring you the best maca the Peruvian mountains has to offer. Yellow maca, used to promote endurance, vitality, fertility, hormone health, and much more, is on sale now. I love it. Visit themacateam.com to order yours now. Themacateam.com.
Enlightening, humorous, and compassionate. Listen live to The Kelly Ballard Show, insight and inspiration from the great beyond. Kelly is a fourth-generation medium and intuitive who covers topics ranging from grief, spirit guides, and listening to your intuition. Kelly can help you get answers and guidance from the other side with a little bit of humor and a lot of healing. Tune in to The Kelly Ballard Show, Thursdays at 1 p.m. Pacific Time here on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Naturopathic doctor, founder of the Martha's Vineyard Holistic Retreat, and author of the New York Times bestseller 21 Pounds in 21 Days, Dr. Ronnie DeLuce has helped tens of thousands of people, including celebrities and athletes, with her message of lifestyle change. Now Dr. Ronnie DeLuce wants to help you. You too can be saved. Email Dr. Ronnie DeLuce at info@ronniedeluceonradio.com and visit mvholisticretreat.com. Dr. Ronnie DeLuce, your partner in wellness.
Are you ready for a game changer? Sarah Westall is bringing you Business Game Changers Radio. Sarah brings you leading experts, visionaries, and newsmakers who provide the best commentary on big issues and cutting-edge innovations. Sarah's 20 years as a business executive will help you think like an entrepreneur with expertise, energy, and attitude. Tune in to Business Game Changers Mondays at noon Pacific, 3 Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
You know it used to be mad love. So take a look what you've done. Cause baby, now we got bad blood. Did you have to do this? I was thinking that you could be trusted.
Hey, everybody. It's great to have you back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Thank you all for tuning us in and turning us on. And it's so great to be chatting with all of you. Nancy Munson is in the house. And so, wow, it is really a powerful conversation when we're just knocking out the technology, which I love, because we're having the ahas coming in fast and furious. That's what energy is about. Nancy, you were talking about what, an aha was and how do they relate to living my soul's full potential? Because that I know that if I think about these and, at least the way they could show up in my life, they have a life of their own sometimes, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when we get an aha, it's like an awakening. It's a shift in our perspective. Then that opens us to greater possibility. It opens us to greater meaning. It opens us to greater opportunities. It opens us to more possibilities, and it shifts our energy, and it opens our minds. Now, the challenge, and as I was saying before, we blew out the technology.
Yeah.
I was saying, Reb Zalman Schachter Shalomi, who was one of my teachers in my spiritual guidance training, he talked about if only I were my ahas, which really stunned me, because here's this incredible luminary man who spent a lot of time with the Dalai Lama. I mean, he was revered for all of the incredible work he's done and how he was this amazing teacher of Jewish mysticism. And yet he even said, if only I were my ahas. And so it got me really thinking, well, okay, we have these great shifts in our perspective. We have these great openings. We have these moments of insight. It's like, wow, I never thought of it that way. Or, wow, I didn't realize putting these two things together led to that. But what happens is it's not enough. It's not enough to shift our behavior. It's not enough to shift us into living life in a different way. And that's where I saw the opportunity in the study that I've been doing for years now with human design, in how to help us make the shift and actually integrate and embody those ahas so that we can make leaps forward in our growth much faster. So in other words, bring out more of our soul's full potential and get rid of those limiting beliefs, limiting perspectives, and limiting behaviors that are not in alignment with our soul's full potential.
And, let's talk about, the anatomy of an aha for a moment, if we could, because I think when people think about them, some folks will go to the place of glass half empty, and some folks go to glass half full. I can think about a number of different things, right? I can think about things that have happened to me in my life that have not been so great. Mm-hmm. The one thing that comes to mind, in 2004, I was 6 months starting out doing the radio show, and I came down with a mystery disease. Now, to me, I had a number of ahas from that experience, bringing me forth. Mm-hmm. How can one look at and actually know I'm having an aha right here? I'm having that aha.
Well, I'm sure everyone has a different flavor, because it's going to be aligned with our design, our soul's design, mm-hmm. and we all operate differently. But the way I've seen them show up, it's a broadening of thinking, and it can happen physiologically with an upsurge of energy in our bodies, but mostly in my own personal experience, it's like a light or a shift in my thinking. It's like I had a good friend once, and he told me, he says, insight and growth happen like water bubbles. If you have little bubbles of water, like on a table, and they have more and more bubbles, and at some point those bubbles of water get close enough together, and all of a sudden, boom, they go to one giant water bubble. And that's basically a physical representation of what I believe happens when we get an aha. It's like we have all these little pieces of the puzzle, but at some point they get close enough together, or the last water bubble or piece gets dropped in, and boom, the picture becomes clear. The expansion becomes in our awareness. So it can happen from an intellectual level, but that's going to have an energetic component, and that energetic component is going to be related to how you're uniquely designed.
Let's talk about the human design for a minute. And for people that may not have, heard the past shows we've done, let's give folks an overview of this, because I really think that this is really the playground we get to step into. I know that for me, sometimes being in a place where I could take a different perspective or have a different level of understanding about a scenario or situation, it gave me a new sense of knowing. Mm-hmm. And I don't even know how to talk about that really, because it's hard to pinpoint. But if there's sort of a game plan or a blueprint, or if there is a way to look at an active element of my life and I can participate in it, boy, that's an aha in itself, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think for us to realize that we get to make choices. Years ago, I used to teach the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Yeah. In the early 90s. It was one of my favorite professional experiences when I got to do that work, because there were so many ahas that people were having in those courses that I was teaching. And one of the things we used to say is, between stimulus and response is a gap. We're not like animals who just have stimulus and response. This was in Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning. That was one of his contributions in that book, was around recognizing we have choice. Now, that in and of itself, I think for me personally, was a huge aha. I don't have to be on automatic pilot. I don't have to. But this is where I believe human design really helps us, because understanding how my soul's been imprinted through seeing the map, which human design, this self-awareness system that came into being around 1987, it gives us that blueprint that helps us to be able to see what our potential is, see that we can make a choice. We don't have to live out of our conditioning. We don't have to live out of that automatic stimulus response. Most of that has been programmed, conditioned installed into our subconscious in those first, at least first 7 years of our life, when we're most susceptible to that conditioning, to that programming. So that's in of itself for me was a huge aha, to realize, okay, we've got choice. Now, what am I going to do with that choice? How am I going to access that choice? Because if I do have all this conditioning, and there's research now that shows 85%, and some people say more, of our behavior is driven out of this programming, this automatic response that's been installed in our subconscious.
Yeah. I mean, isn't this really fascinating too? Because we're having really, we're having the technology and the research being brought to the forefront. I mean, we have ways now, to help reinforce that, wait a minute, if I'm going to show up this way and I'm going to hold this energy and hold it from a different perspective of where my life is and the things that have happened to me, if I can see the nugget, and I love that line from that movie, that Silver Lining Playbook movie, and, where he comes out and he says, why is everybody so negative? Why is everybody so negative? Can't you find the silver lining? Can't you find the silver lining? Well, some people can and some people can't. What do you think the difference is in terms of the way they approach their design?
Well, again, I think it comes back to conditioning. My mother, God bless her, she was very critical and very negative. And I know her journey as a child growing up in Missouri with no money, on a very poor farm, and couldn't even get to go to school because her father would keep her out to work the fields. Never finished high school. I think she made it through like her first year of high school, and that was all that she could do. I mean, she looked at things because of growing up through that very hard time, having a lot of challenges as a child. She chose to look at that from a very fearful place. And she had a lot of negative approach. Now, it's interesting because there's some recent study that talk about, you take two people who grew up in very difficult childhood situations, very difficult homes as children. One gets stuck in victim, and the other one goes on to become hugely successful. So it really goes back to that choice of when do we choose to look at a situation as an opportunity versus getting stuck in victim. And that's what I've found out recently with looking at human design in a more active way, that we really do come with certain victim frequencies that were designed to transmute into a gift, into the gift that's hiding in that victim frequency. And that's really the choice that we have. That's what human design can show us. Oh my gosh, this is one of my life themes, is to, like for me, one of my life themes is victim of fatigue, right? And victim of exhaustion. And when I stop choosing the wrong things and choose what is correct for me, what my design shows, what my sacral energy says yes to, when I do that, then I have the resolve to live my life in a way that's aligned with my design. I break through that victim frequency of exhaustion, fatigue, and I get fueled by doing things that align with my life's force, my life energy. And it brings about a whole different experience of life than when I choose exhaustion and fatigue and overcommitment and saying yes to the wrong things because I'm impatient, right?
Yeah.
And all that was revealed to me by looking at these more active levels of human design.
And one of the things you talked about too in this conversation is the word potential. Soul's full potential. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes we can think about, well, wait a minute. I'm meant to a life of doom. And having an idea of a soul's full potential is not in the realm of our knowledge or our understanding. And how does human design help folks take a look at that, understand that there is a full potential and it is available to us?
So yes, that's a great question, because it is right there in the map. So when we're born, our soul imprints our genetic coding. We have these 64 genetic codons that make up our full DNA imprint. And when we're born, we get, our soul activates a certain set of those 64 genetic codons. And that sets up our potential right there. Until recently, we've only had small little windows into that genetic potential, into our soul's blueprint. And as I said, in 1987, this man received human design and then started teaching it and bringing it out. And what that map shows, it shows how our energy is designed to function. It shows the full potential. It also shows the, like I said, the victim frequencies or shadow frequencies that most of humanity lives in, but the potential to go bust through that, to transmute that victim frequency, that lower vibration, transmute it to the higher frequency, is the opportunity for all of us. And I believe, and what I've seen happen in my own life and in the lives of my clients, is when we have that map, when we understand more clearly our full potential and the victim frequencies or the shadow frequencies that we've come here to transmute. It was part of our design. Our soul comes with these samskaras from its past incarnations, and it brings those samskaras or twists in our nervous system. It helps us to know that, so then we can focus on those. And that's what, when you talk about acceleration and expansion,
yeah,
that's, if we understand where to put our attention and where to put our focus on what's going to be the biggest leverage to shift out of that into our full potential, it accelerates our awakening. It accelerates our expansion.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up because, that is really what we're talking about. When we talk about accelerated expansiveness, we are talking about tapping into potential. Sometimes we know we have it. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes, as growing up as a kid, what do they say, Nancy, right? Felt like we could conquer the world at some level. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't go away. That idea of tapping into that is the work that you do to help people really know that there is a potentiality here that as individuals we may have forgotten about. We may have forgotten about it. And sometimes, Nancy, when we forget, we give up the dream, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. Right? It's like we got this little forgetter. And, our forgetter is really good at forgetting the idea of potential good that could be part of our lives. Isn't that why you call this an active and not a passive element process?
Yeah, absolutely. Because it is a journey. In my spiritual guidance training, we learned about, and this is based on Carl Jung's work, which you and I've talked a little bit about on past shows.
Yeah.
Is, it's the divine child. The divine child gets born. It gets wounded, right? And we all go through this. In some way, we're not accepted for the beautiful perfection that we are. That's part of what you're talking about with these dreams, right? And we get wounded. So the divine child goes underground, quote unquote, goes into the shadow, gets pushed into the background, and we conform. We get conditioned to behave in ways that are acceptable, ways that are okay, ways that keep us safe, ways that keep us getting love. And we go through life until a certain point, usually around midlife, when the soul calls us to awaken, to bring that divine child back out into the light and integrate those pieces of ourselves that we've cut off. So we can choose, again, this goes back to choice. We can choose to deny that because sometimes the ego will get freaked out and say, I don't want to let go of who I've become, because it means, having to release some parts of ourselves that really aren't who we are because we've been conditioned to behave that way.
Yeah.
And then bring out these new qualities that have been hidden for years, never had the opportunity to grow, these little seeds of potential that were never allowed to blossom. To bring those out could mean disrupting big parts of our lives. And that's where people get afraid. That's where those victim frequencies can really hold us captive because the ego doesn't want to be, quote unquote, destroyed, which it won't. It just needs to let go of how it's been identified.
Well, and this is part of the work that you do. And I know we have a way for folks to apply for a free soul design discovery session. I mean, this is the work that you do to help people really tap in to see where that potential is and to really move from becoming passive or staying passive to becoming active in their own actions and destiny in life. So often we think, wait a minute, I don't really have a say in this. And we forget that we have points of choice along the way, right?
We always have choice. We may not recognize it, but we always have choice.
And I love that you brought up Viktor Frankl. So for folks out there, you can go to Nancy's website, everydayspirituality.com. And when we come back, we're going to tell you about how you can apply for a free soul design discovery session. And what these are really to get the ball rolling, to get things moving. And then once you get the discovery of this, right, how do we remove those things that are getting in the way? And then what does it mean to step into the possibility of a life that completely embraces your soul's full potential? For those of you out there, you have any questions or comments for today, 1-800-930-2819. Give us a shout. We're going to take a short break, everyone. We'll be right back.
For the long way round, 2 bottles of whiskey for the way.
The doctor is in. Tune in to the hit show, The Psychic Love Doctor, with host Deborah Lee. Deborah's life-affirming, highly perceptive reading method has taught Deborah how to zero in on specific problems with relationships, career pursuits, and current roadblocks to success and happiness. Join Deborah Fridays at 2 p.m. Pacific, and for a special broadcast the second Thursday of every month at 11 a.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Do you want the freedom to spend more time with your loved ones? Travel the world? Live spontaneously? Get ready, because the Chip Justice Show is here. Hosts Dr. Pat Basile and Chip Justice can help you build meaningful success while embracing life. Living a life you love is the end game in this new, inspirational, and empowering show. Positive changes for a life you'll love. Tune in every month on TransformationTalkRadio.com and visit PositiveChangeInstitute.co for more information.
Tune in to the Angels and Answers Psychic Radio Show with clairvoyants Artie Hoffman and Sky Siegel every Thursday for a 2-hour show, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Transformation Talk Radio. Artie and Sky deliver spiritual and motivational messages with passion and a sense of humor. Call in 800-930-2819 for live and on-air readings. Visit artiehoffman.com and skyofangels.com.
What is a master soul gardener? With Nomi Bahar, you can be one too. Her revolutionary Gates of Power method is a comprehensive program that addresses every aspect of yourself and gives you the tools to tend to the seeds of your soul's garden. Let Nomi guide you through and beyond what's holding you back and help you embrace the life you've always dreamed of. To learn more about upcoming classes and workshops, visit gatesofpower.com today.
A word of caution: if you prefer the status quo and you are not interested in improving every aspect of your life, this book will trigger the shift out of you. The Truth is Funny, Shift Happens is available now. Author Colette Steffen brings the powerful knowledge and life-changing energy and empowerment from the radio airwaves to the pages of her new book. To get your copy in paperback or ebook, visit thetruthisfunny.com today.
What are vibes? We often use this word, but did you know vibes can actually be useful and help solve our everyday challenges? Embark on an exciting learning journey with Caitlin Keat, 11-time Visionary Award winner, specialist in vibrational energy, and the creator of Vibes Up. Join Caitlin as she takes you through the world of vibrational therapy and energy healing, with natural solutions for a modern world. Visit vibesup.com to learn more today.
Wow. Hey, everyone. Welcome back. It's really great to have you all here joining us. If only I were my ahas. Human Design in Action, Everyday Spirituality. My co-host today, Nancy Monson. And Nancy, I want, before we jump back into talking about this idea of potential and expansiveness and how to tap into it, one of the ways that folks can get some help around that is if they could find out more about what the free Soul Design Discovery Session is. And I would love for you to tell people how they can apply for that and also what that actually is for people.
Sure, Pat. So they can go to my website, everydayspirituality.com/apply, APPLY, and fill out a short form that will actually give them quite a bit of insight as to what's going on in their life right now and what they want, and what's holding them back, and what they'd really like to see shifted in their life. So just filling out the application will give some insight and clarity as to what's going on in their life right now and where they are, where they want to be, and where the gap is. And then if they are accepted, because we'll review that, and we only have a certain number that we do each month. So if they're one of the ones chosen, then they're on the phone with me for 45 minutes where we talk about their design and where they're holding themselves back and how they can bust through that, and what is it that they really want to accomplish, and what's the path forward.
Yeah, I mean it's really kind of an energy to get really fired up about our lives, and and to really learn how to just break out of whatever the shackles of the past might be, are holding us back. And I have to say that you and I sit here, and one of the things that we haven't maybe said is I would never be out in the world doing anything even close to what I love doing here with the show and other things, if I did not decide a ways ago that I couldn't do this by myself, that I needed help, I needed a coach, I needed something that was going to, or someone that was going to take this journey with me to see the things that I'm not able to see of myself. And I think that's what you're talking about. You work with people to help them move beyond the limited views that we have of ourselves, to step into that idea of potential. And I want to make sure everybody knows to go to everydayspirituality.com and go ahead and apply for that free session. I think that's great, for those of us out here that do need some help, and you want to have you want to have a different view of your life and be able to take action.
Exactly.
So that's part of part of what we're talking about. What are some of the things that we can do? What can we do to really step into the world of possibilities and really look at our full potential?
Oh, yeah, that's great. A great question to explore, because there are, the problem with the unconscious is that it's unconscious. So we all have blind spots. I mean, that's the real challenge. So any way that we can get a mirror to what we can't see is super helpful. So a couple of things that can really help is looking at patterns. Like, what kinds of people do I consistently attract into my life? Is there some pattern of unpleasantness that I attract? Like, I maybe attract all people who, one of my things that I've been working on for years is attracting people into my life who are emotionally not available. Well, that's a pattern that I've been working on for a long time, and I'm starting to attract people that are more emotionally available for friendship, for relationship, whatever it happens to be. So another pattern that I find a lot of people run into that they can't see is a pattern of not honoring their commitments. They bring in people into their lives a lot that don't honor their commitments, and then they get all upset with it. But when they if they were to look at that, our soul will project onto others the shadows, both positive and negative, that we are not able to see. So we're naturally attracted to the people who our soul can actually project those shadow qualities. It's trying to get our attention, but we miss, it's like guilty by association. We miss the projection and think it's the person. So it's always out there. So there's a great quote that I've loved for years: if you don't like your relationships, look at yourself. So that's one way to get insight. Other ways obviously are, there's lots of different self-assessment, self-awareness systems out there, from some of the more standard ones like Myers-Briggs or DISC or Enneagram. And then there's the newer ones, like Human Design, that give us different perspectives, different mirrors to look at where our shadow is and also where our gifts are. So that's a couple of ideas.
Hey, let's take a short break, everyone. When we come back, we're going to take this journey with Nancy, and we're going to go down the pathway. What does a change look like? And we're going to talk about some very specific things in human design. Maybe we'll even take a look at mine. But what are the next steps? And what does it really enable us to do? Maybe that book you thought you were going to write that you didn't write. Maybe that date you thought you didn't want to go on that maybe now sounds a little bit more appealing to you. Or how about simply asking your boss for a raise? Let's take a short break, everyone. We will be right back.
Oh, how about a round of applause? Yeah, standing ovation. Ooh, oh, yeah.
Has asthma or allergies got you singing the raspy blues? Allergy and Asthma Networks is the nation's premier nonprofit patient-centered network of doctors, caregivers, patients, and healthcare professionals who are dedicated to ending death and suffering due to asthma, allergies, and related conditions. Join President and CEO Tanya Winders each month on the Dr. Pat Show to learn more and visit allergyasthmanetwork.org today. Breathe better together with Allergy and Asthma Network.
Tune in to The Jen Royster Show, intuitive guidance to inspire your life, each Thursday at 8 a.m. Pacific and 11 a.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com. This amazing show is an inspirational hour that will take you on an epic metaphysical journey to discover the spiritual approach to life's greatest challenges. Dr. Jen is an internationally known intuitive counselor, spiritual teacher, and energy healer. Call in for intuitive readings and visit JenRoyster.com for more information.
There are so many resources out there for meditation. But did you know that Atana's Heart Earth Healing Meditation is available for you for free? Yes, that's right. You can receive this free healing meditation today from Atana Badili. All you need to do is visit his website, atanamethod.com. That's ATAANA method.com and sign up. You will receive your free meditation instantly. That's atanamethod.com.
On the cutting edge of the new mainstream, Christine Upchurch is passionate about bringing together science, psychology, and spirituality in a way that can be applied to our everyday lives for true transformation. The Christine Upchurch Show, stellar conversations to illuminate your journey, engages some of the most outstanding visionaries on the planet in lively dialogue to inspire you to become that bright light you're meant to be. Join Christine every Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific Time on KKNW, AM 1150, and Transformation Talk Radio.
Are you tired of being tired? Hi, I'm Mary Jane Mack. Did you know the adrenal glands, the workhorse of the body? They are the means by which you position yourself in life for whatever comes your way. Tiny but mighty, producing hormones the body uses to promote energy and vitality. These adrenals determine how you respond to stress, and when depleted, the body loses its ability to function powerfully when we need it most. The much-needed adrenaline or epinephrine is not available for emergency situations. Cortisone and cortisol, the longer-acting anti-stress adrenal hormones, can also become depleted due to the pace of our everyday lives. We overwork and undernutrition our most powerful ally that helps us to live the lives we desire. We are able to determine the optimum function of the adrenals and put your system back in balance. Contact us today to feel powerfully energized at 888-777-4232 or visit us at maryjanemack.com.
Just another day here in paradise.
Wow, everybody, welcome back. Nancy Monson joining me here today. This is really what I love, and that is to talk about if only I were my ahas, human design in action. Everyday spirituality, my co-host, soul advocate, Nancy Monson joining me here today. You know, how do you know your soul is not, you're not operating your soul's full potential? What does your life look like?
Oh,
right. And then how does that show up in human design so that you know, wait a minute, we're not really at full potential here.
Yeah, I'm laughing because I just, and I shared a little bit of this earlier, but I'd like to just share a little bit in my own aha that I had for me. You know, there are 3 different victim frequencies that I discovered, and it totally made sense in the story of my life. I mentioned earlier about victim of fatigue, and then victim of impatience, and victim of victimization. Those 3 right there, when I realized and put those together, it represented such a story of my life. So, you know, if I'm impatient because I don't trust the universe, right? And this I inherited. It was my unconscious inheritance, genetic inheritance from my mom's side of the family. If I'm impatient because I don't trust the universe, I'm going to jump and do whatever instantly comes to me, which then leads me to using my energy in an incorrect way, which leads me to exhaustion. And then I get stuck in victim. So I feel like I'm the victim of the universe. The universe doesn't support me because I'm saying yes to all the wrong things because I don't trust the universe. So it was like a huge aha light bulb went on for me. Like, oh my gosh, those three together have kept me stuck. Now I'm doing more and more to follow and have the patience. Wait. My design, my authority is to wait for my emotional clarity, not jump and make a yes or a no in the moment. To wait, give myself time to let my emotional wave come to clarity, and then find my answer, find my choice. Is it yes or not now? If it's a yes, then what I've seen happen more and more and more as I wait and have patience and trust that my clarity will come, the universe supports me. Those decisions are correct for me. My energy is fueled, and my enthusiasm is fueled, and my way is opened in magical serendipitous events that occur to support me actualizing that choice, to actually bring the results, bring the fulfillment that I'm desiring from making that correct choice. And then I'm not feeling in a victim place. I'm feeling very empowered. I'm feeling free to make my choices. I am patient. I'm trusting the universe. I'm trusting my own design. And I am resolved. I am committed to living my life in alignment with my design. And that is changing my own experience of my life in profound ways that are much more supportive and rewarding. And it supports being empowered instead of supporting being in victim. So that's a personal story of how learning about these victim frequencies and how I can transmute them in very simple ways that will help me then to live more from my potential.
Well, I mean, the question comes up, and this is one of the questions that comes up. It's like, well, okay, well, wait a minute. I'm thinking everything's okay in my life today. It's a feeling of contentment. And some people think, well, wait a minute, why do I want to do more? Why do I want to have more? And somewhere along the line, I think we get confused that maybe being content isn't our full potential. But there are signs, aren't there, that will tell us whether or not we're playing at our full potential or not.
Yeah. If people, it's an inner contentment. If it's deeply, everyone has a unique path. And so there's this deep contentment and ease and effortlessness with life, then you're most likely living very close to your design. My teacher, he's reviewed several designs of enlightened masters, and he sees that those people are living their designs 100% of the time. So when we're at our full potential, we have this ease in our life. We have this flow. Our relationships work. Our work in the world is joyful and fulfilling. Whether it's personal work or whether it's service to others. Our health is good. When we are working in our highest potential, life is smooth. It flows. It's easy.
Yeah.
And that's some of the indicators. The great sages from India, the great teachers from India talk about that when you are in that higher state, when you are in alignment with nature supports you, and it's just effortless.
Yeah. This is really kind of what we're talking about here, is really understanding that, there are things that show up in our emotional energy field that clearly we're not comfortable, we're not happy, we're sad. We can go through the realm. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times what happens is we think it's some person, some place, some other thing that's affecting us. Geez, Nancy, if he would only do that, or wow, I must have the worst boss on the planet, or something like that. But the minute we start to take a look at what's happening with our own design, it really gives us an understanding to the point where those people that we once thought were in the way of us living our full potential and the life that our soul would love for us to lead are really non-players in the scheme of things, right?
Yeah, yeah, and as I said earlier, everything can be seen as some element of reflection back to us. Like, if I'm working for a boss that's abusive and that's that's putting me into an empowered place and a place of victim. So how am I choosing? Because I'm choosing to be in that relationship with that abusive boss. Why am I doing that? What am I trying to learn here? What is my soul trying to get me to see? How do I break that pattern? If I don't want to be in that kind of relationship anymore, I have to make a choice because I'm choosing to be there. Yeah, there are other consequences for different choices, and I need to weigh all of those and then come to my clarity in my own design about which other choice is a better choice and make small steps. But I have to start with choosing myself. And this is actually the focus of my newsletter or my article on my website that I just posted yesterday. I wrote it, from recovering from this being sick last week, because it was really a wake-up call for me not choosing me. So if I don't choose me first, and this is a challenge I think many women struggle with, is we don't put ourselves first. And if we choose ourselves first and choose to live in alignment with who we are and honor and respect and cherish ourselves, then we live in that victim frequency, whatever the version of it is for us. And so I then attract people who reinforce that victim frequency, like an abusive boss or an unfulfilling relationship, or, like I said, someone who's not emotionally available, until I choose that I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to find what it is in me that's causing me to attract these kinds of people, which that is also in my design, and then do whatever mindset work or release work or transmutation work to release that pattern, release that unconscious frequency so that I don't attract those people anymore. So that's where I can always be at choice. I can always find things to do in me that will shift my energy, and then my outside world will change.
Well, I think that one of the things that once we have that discovery and awareness, right, the next thing is, look, what am I going to do about it?
Right.
I now have a new level of awareness. And I think this goes back, Nancy, to what we were talking about. This is not really a passive process. This is not about, wait a minute, let me look at my horoscope for today. And if it says I'm going to be happy, then let me be happy. If it says I'm going to be sad, let me be sad.
Yeah.
It's not that kind of aha or that kind of aha opportunity, is it?
No. It's interesting because there's so many of these different types of, I would call them divination tools. Mm-hmm. And they really are a way for our unconscious to give us signals. I do a lot of dream work with my clients because our soul speaks to us and gives us guidance and insight through the images and symbols in our dreams. So we're being communicated to all the time, but we consistently make the mistake that it's something outside of ourselves that is communicating to us, when it's really our own soul trying to get the message to us. Hey, here, try it a different way. Here's a pattern. See this pattern. Don't just, keep doing it over and over again. And again, it's choice. Some people don't choose to do that deep inner work, whatever modality of release work or healing work you want to choose. I do a lot of release work with my clients to help get through those victim frequencies. And that really helps. That really gives us that freedom, but it takes the awareness and then to make a choice, and then to this is the active part, choose and then do the work that's needed to let go of that unconscious programming.
Wow. Well, what a great show. Thank you for today. I want to just take a minute, if we could, and just let people know how they can find out more about you, how they can give you a shout to work with you, and how they can actually sit down and work with their human design. What's the best way for people to reach out to you?
The best way, obviously, easily, the most easiest way is through everydayspirituality.com. And there's a lot of resources there. You can apply for the Soul Design Discovery Session. There's a free downloadable report that talks more about the process of transformation. There's a lot of resources there, and there's an outline of my programs that I work with people and to give them their design and then help them do the release work so that they can get out of their victim frequencies and into their gifts. So there's a lot of information on the website. I think that's probably the easiest way for people to reach me.
Perfect. Wow. Thank you for a great show. Last question. What's a personal message, Nancy? What would you like to leave us with today?
Choose yourself. Choose to love yourself. Choose to accept yourself. Choose to celebrate yourself. And know that you are a unique, brilliant reflection, light of the universe, of the creation.
I love it. And this is so important for us to choose ourselves this year. Thank you, everybody. Remember to go to everydayspirituality.com. Check it out. For more about us, go to the drpatshow.com, go to transformationtalkradio.com. And remember, this is really a vibration that enables each and every one of us to step into our full potential, our soul's potential. We'll see you next time.
Tides that I tried to swim against brought me down upon my knees. Oh, I beg and plead, singing, come out of things unsaid. Shouldn't I pull off my head and a trouble that can be...
The preceding audio was via a Skype call.